Welcome to the show today. Today it's Doc, and got my friend with me, Adam Jenkins, local Jiu-Jitsu fighter and new sponsor, Doc's Oils friend. Good. Adam, tell me a little bit about yourself today.
My name's Adam Jenkins. I'm 32 years old. I'm from Granite City, born and raised. I own a home here, wife, 3 dogs. Went to Granite City High, Granite City Warrior alumni. I'm a blue belt under Steve and Josh McKinney out of Head Knot HQ on Pontoon Road. And
awesome. How long you been? How long you been over at the Head Knot?
A little over 15 months, right around 16 months. I've been at Head Knot.
Cool.
Yeah. So.
What really got you into jiu-jitsu?
Really, so I used to train down at CMMA right there in Pontoon, Steve Canola's gym. And me and a friend, we were more acquaintances at the time, and then we started training together at CMMA. My buddy Dylan Dalton, and he's now a purple belt down there with Steve and Josh, soon to be brown belt, I think. He's right there on the cusp of it. But
awesome.
He knew that I loved training after seeing when they closed, and I was just lifting and just not, just partying and doing dumb stuff in life. And he encouraged me to come down there, and man, it's changed my life. So
that's awesome, man. And it sounds like you really got into the competing aspect of jiu-jitsu as well. Looks like you've got a competition coming up here in the next couple of weeks. You're real excited about in Las Vegas. Tell everybody a little bit about that competition.
So it's in Las Vegas, June 30th through July 2nd. It's American Nationals. I'm really hoping to go double gold and national title.
Cool.
And it'll be my blue belt debut. Like I said, it's IBJJF American Nationals. It's in Las Vegas. This Thursday, you could stream it on Flow Grappling. Subscribe and set up an account and watch it. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so if you get an opportunity and like to see great jiu-jitsu, check out Flow Grappling. And you can watch our man Adam compete. This will be the first time he's competing as a professional at blue belt, correct?
Yeah. They consider blue belt. You can get into the pro series grappling and actually make a name for yourself now.
Cool. Very cool. Well, we're looking forward to that. So with regards to competition, I talked a little bit about Adam being part of Doc's Oils here and sponsored by Doc's Oils. Being a competitive athlete, a lot of times we have ourselves nicks and cuts and are kind of banged up. Do you have anything particularly that has been very helpful for your routine to stay fit or stay healthy? And do you think that has the CBD oil benefited you in any way?
Really, the main factor of the CBD is why I started taking it is because I have extremely bad ADHD and have had it since I was a little kid. The pills that I used to have to take, like Adderall and Ritalin and that, really made me feel like a zombie. I'd get in trouble for sleeping in class. So I started smoking at a young age. Yeah. And that's, it's a little frowned upon. So I started taking CBD as well to help with that. And so.
So you find, not to interrupt you, but you find that the CBD and the THC seem to be helpful for your ADHD over the whole.
Yeah, big time. It just calms me down. Sure. It hones me in and lets me focus a lot more rather than being scatterbrained and kind of all over the place with 3 different things at once.
Sure.
One at a time, it really helps me focus, especially with jiu-jitsu. It's really good to be calm and focused whenever you're training, competing, so that's helped out a lot. And then with this protruding neck or disc in my neck, throwing that CBG in there as well has helped that substantially. Cool. With that, and I take it right before bed and it helps me sleep. So the Doc's gummies.
That's awesome. Yeah, Adam was mentioning several different products. He currently has a little bit of a neck injury, to give you a little bit of a background, and has taken several of our different products. He's taking our 2-to-1 product, which is a CBD and CBG product. He's also taking some of our gummies as well. They are the CBD gummies and the CBN gummies. So he's tried a little bit of all of our cannabinoids, and finds that a lot of them work together. And that's what I find with cannabis in general. He mentioned that, he uses smoking THC and that type of thing for improving his focus. And he also mentioned the stigma of THC and things. And I think that that's one of the things at Doc's Oil specifically that I've really tried to hit on, is that this stigma should be lifted. In general, smoking can be irritant to the lungs, but THC overall has a lot of medical benefits. The CBD, the THC, all these different cannabinoids that are finding to be medically beneficial. And a lot of people they think of cannabis as just a situation where you smoke cannabis and all you want to do is lay around on the couch. And I think that that's a real misconception out there, that in a lot of cases for people, certain strains of cannabis with the right THC content, with the right CBD content, with the right content of these cannabinoids, that you get better focus. You don't always get less active, you just get more focused. It helps your body and your mind kind of compartmentalize the things that you need to do and that type of thing. And I think that that's one of the things that's unique about cannabis. They say that it's what's called biphasic, in that for certain people, and depending upon the amount that you use, you get a certain reaction. So if you use a whole lot of cannabis, in a lot of cases, you get real sleepy and tired. But if you use kind of the right amount, some cases, it hones you in and focuses you. Yeah. Just think that that's interesting that you hit on that point, and from the perspective of ADHD. So just wanted to hit on that. I appreciate the perspective in you mentioning that.
Well, and with pharmaceutical solutions with medicine, there's a lot of side effects as well.
Absolutely.
And there's less side effects with natural medicine like this, so that's also extremely beneficial. Whenever you have a product like yours, you know exactly where it's coming from, you know the purity of it, the quality. There's no funny business in the manufacturing of it, and that's huge. So
yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. I think unfortunately with the pharmaceuticals out there, with these drugs and things, you don't know a lot of cases how your body's going to react, and you don't know in a lot of cases the long-term effects. Our body has this natural endocannabinoid system that responds well to these what are called exogenous cannabinoids, your CBD, your THC, these type of things, and so you don't tend to get those side effects. You do not tend to get those long-term detrimental effects. And what you see in a lot of cases is long-term health benefits instead of detriment with the plant medicine. And I think that's also interesting that you hit on that. And I think that fortunately, we're seeing more and more people moving towards that, whether you're in athletics or whether you're or more just the common person wanting to feel better and be more healthy, I think.
Yeah, so I think just, now that it's getting legalized around the country, they can actually start researching and studying it a lot more. And it's not so much frowned upon because people,
absolutely
then took it extremely serious, like it was some kind of crazy thing, and now they're actually reaching scientific studies on, how it's curing cancer and stuff like that, or helping in those studies. So
absolutely, and I think that that's all that propaganda and things that was out there that they were pushing, and I think that, like you said, as more research comes along, and as the research becomes more available, and as the laws become less strict, and as it becomes legal like it should be, then more research is going to be done. And I think that is the key to really getting the long-term benefit and really understanding these cannabinoids. On all these videos that I've done, one of the things that I think is coming as time goes along you won't be going into a pharmacy like you did before. You'll be going into a dispensary type of place like this that's almost replaced the pharmacy, except what's going to happen is they're going to have these plants at specific amounts and derived out, and they're going to be specific condition based. In other words, you're going to come in and you're going to say, I want 60 milligrams of CBD, 20 of this, of CBG, and so on and so forth. And as those are basically prescribed, you're going to get medical benefit. And I think that that's what you're going to see and how it's going, whether it's the pharmacies or your dispensaries or whatever. But I think it's really interesting. I think we're at a unique time, and I think that I hope that as people like yourself, share your stories of the benefit of cannabis and show that, hey, we don't just, sit around and do nothing. We're productive members in society. We function as people that can do things and be successful, and even in athletic endeavors. And I think people really think, and in the past especially, not so much, because if you really are truthful about it, most people in athletics use cannabis. They just have never been able to say they use cannabis.
Well, look at Michael Phelps.
Exactly. Look at Michael Phelps. Look at they got the fastest runner. What's his name? Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
Both of those guys are known cannabis users. And the reality is, in the football locker rooms, in behind the scenes, these things were being used. Now what has changed though is you're going to see that they're going to be used, and they're going to be using them not necessarily for performance enhancing that you think, but they're being used in that they're showing benefit for certain things athletically as well. So I find that interesting too.
Yeah, and after a good hard training session, or going to the gym and hitting strength conditioning, you come home and you're just wired, and sometimes the average 9 to 5 guy, he gets off at 5, has to go home, eat, get situated, get to the gym, do his workout, gets home about 9 o'clock and has to be in bed at 10. It's really hard to wind down and really relax. And so that's a huge beneficial factor to it as well.
And that's one of the things that we've seen with a lot of our products is that it calms people down. People. I think there's a stigma to the terminology of getting high, but the reality is, most of the public, they like to alter themselves in some way. We were talking before about, you don't judge people for drinking too often. You don't judge them for you need to take a Xanax once in a while or whatever. Same thing, And I think that some are better than others. I think that some better choices. But I think that what cannabis tends to do for people is it tends to relax them. It tends to calm them down, and then helps provide that thing that's necessary to recover is sleep. We talked a little bit about earlier how, a lot of times if you use other type of medications, whether it's, alcohol to help you sleep or sleeping medications, it screws with your REM sleep, your ability to get into that good deep sleep.
Yeah.
And so when you can't get into that, your body can't recuperate and heal. And cannabis doesn't do that. It allows your body to get into that REM sleep, allows it to have a good night's sleep and heal. And so that's one of the other benefits too. Upon that relaxation at night, the person, like you said, that can't typically calm down is allowed to calm down, gets a good night's sleep, and then go in the next day and function.
Yeah. And a lot of people resource like melatonin and use that as a factor. And I've tried to use melatonin, and I couldn't find I would eat one little gummy, one of those little gummies, 10 milligram, 5 milligram, whatever it is, and I would wake up, extremely just down and depressed and in a funk that could not get out of all day. Like a cloudy day, how it puts you in that funk. That's how it was. So I would eat half of one, and I would have that feeling still. And having the gummies and stuff to replace that with, and wake up feeling good, refreshed, and happy to be waking up another day, instead of the melatonin putting me in a funk where I'm I don't want to get up. I don't want to go outside. I don't want to do anything, type of feeling.
I had the same thing with melatonin. I used melatonin a fair amount a few years back, and I could never find a happy dose, and I always felt like you said, it was kind of this lethargic, almost. I always felt hungover almost in the morning. I didn't feel like getting moving. I didn't feel that, and I don't typically get that with the CBD. You don't get those lingering symptoms. You don't get that. With CBD, you tend to get a feeling of good well-being, a happy well-being, like you said, and the THC in general as well. But with those other drugs, the melatonin, it brings you down a little too much, and that desire to do things kind of in some cases goes away from me.
Yeah. And then you hear the crazy stories about like Ambien.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the Tiger Woods story, of course,
Yeah.
is one of the famous ones. Or Roseanne.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or you know, whatever. Yeah. So.
Yeah, the amount of stories you've heard of people doing crazy things, sleepwalking, and all that kind of stuff on the Ambien is crazy.
I have a relative who wakes up and cooks in the middle of the night.
Really?
And doesn't even realize that they do. Wakes up the next day. There's a little bit of a mess in the kitchen. Has no recollection of it. You know what I mean? It's just a really scary thing.
Yeah.
And I'm scared for them, but to each their own, I guess.
Yeah, right. Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. Well, like I said, that's awesome. That you found it beneficial for you, and that you found yourself a pretty good routine with cannabis. Just to kind of get back to a little bit about the jujitsu, we talked about how you got into jujitsu and that type of thing. But did you have anybody that really inspires you in jujitsu? Anybody that you follow because you like to follow them, or just because you like how they fight? Hell, I don't know.
Growing up, I was always inspired by my uncle Sean about his youth, his accolades.
Sean, keep somebody from around here.
Yeah, Sean Jenkins. He moved to Florida. He got into the party scene, you know, and kind of stepped away from the fight scene and kind of went off and did his own thing and lived life, you know, how he wanted to live it. But whenever he was 13, he was a little overweight and started training Shotokan. It's a Japanese hard style of karate. It's the oldest style of karate. And his sensei was like, man, you should start competing. And so he did. He started at 14, 15 years old competing in Shotokan karate in these big, you know, national tournaments. And that pushed him to kickboxing.
Yeah.
And he got his black belt in Shotokan karate. And he started kickboxing, went 19-1-2, lost to the number one guy in the world. Robin something was his name.
That's awesome.
So always hearing stories about that.
Yeah.
Like, my buddies' dads were like, your Uncle Sean, you know.
The badass.
Yeah, pretty much. Tell me stories and stuff. And I'm like, man, that's awesome. So, but, you know, then, like I said, he kind of let his life dwindle out of that scene.
Yeah.
And, but it's still inspiring to look up to somebody like
Absolutely.
that. And my dad was a state qualifier in wrestling in high school. We just never made it to the top. But
Did you wrestle?
no, I played hockey since I was 6 years old.
No shit.
Yeah, I've been in so much love with hockey.
Really?
Yeah, I tried to box whenever I was younger because having red hair and freckles in high school or in school, you know, like I don't know if it's like that now, but like whenever I was growing up, I got hazed.
You were the picked on guy, huh?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was like beat up and bullied, but I was always smack talked to. So defending myself and handling a situation if it got out of line was always like something that was interesting.
In the forefront.
Yeah, so like I wanted to train and you know and achieve things through that, but yeah.
Cool.
In the jiu-jitsu world, my team, man, I love watching my team go.
That's awesome.
I love cheering them on. I love being the pep guy, you know, and you know, letting them overcome their fears. Because with me, I've been competing since I was 6, so the fear of competing and going against somebody really isn't there.
Yeah.
And for somebody like me that doesn't have that fear, and to know like that I have a teammate that is just, I mean, palms sweaty, you know, like nervous as all hell to go out there and compete, and to tell them you're the best. Like this person is nothing. I know how you play. You know, like just to go out there and encourage them to go do it and put that fear on the back burner. That's my favorite thing. And
awesome.
Yeah. And of course, you know, the black belts, like, you know, there's a guy named Tynan Depral I met at Pans. He's #1 middleweight in the world. And, yeah, he's just a super humble guy. I met him, and his coach is a legend, Guy Mendez. And just being in the jiu-jitsu scene, seeing these guys go
very cool.
Is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a fun thing.
Keeps you wanting to do more. Yeah,
and it's like whenever you go to a hockey game, you can't just go down there and meet the players, you know?
Yeah.
In these big, you know, world tournaments, these guys are from Brazil and all of Europe and all over the world. And
yeah.
They're the best in the world, and they're just sitting right in front of you. You know, they're in the same arena as you, you know? And you could just walk up and say, hey, do you mind get a picture and a little chit-chat? And they're so humble. It's just, it's extremely humbling sport and an art. It's a way of life, really. It's amazing.
Yeah. If you ever want to check out Jiu-Jitsu, head on down to the Head Nod Squad.
We're right across from, right there, the old Aloha spot. It's a blue building. We got a sign on the building. If you know where the Maryland Manor apartments are down here in Granite on Ponte Road, we're right across from that. And you won't meet a better group of people to train with. You know, you don't think you're just going to come there and get beat up. You actually learn self-defense and life, just overall life morals, you know, like you go there and you get humbled, and being humbled in life is great.
Absolutely. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Humbling creates growth, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It doesn't build a egotistic, you know, mentality, you know.
Yeah. I think that's one of the good things about jiu-jitsu too, that I've seen in the jiu-jitsu world, the little that I've been involved in it, is that there's a lot of camaraderie with it, and there's a lot of respect between the individuals, and there's a lot of that aspect of it, and I think that that's important with sports anymore, because you see so little respect with people anymore in a lot of cases, and really appreciating each other and appreciating the art of competition. You know, you want to beat each other's ass, but you appreciate the fact that you know, both are doing something to better yourselves in some ways, I think. At least that's my perspective anyway, from an outsider perspective.
Yeah, 100%. The camaraderie is what keeps me going back to Head Nod. I won't train anywhere else ever. Like, of course I'll go and cross train, but that is my second home. You know what I mean? And I really enjoy the days that I get to go there, which is as many times as I can go, you know? And to go there and train and know that, okay, you know, Thursday I have 6 other guys in my division, and knowing these 6 guys they're doing jiu-jitsu in a whole, but there's so many different principles to the game. Like, you know, you could be a closed guard player, you could be an open guard player, you could be a top pressure player, you know, half guard player. Like, there's so many different aspects to this jiu-jitsu as a whole, and knowing that I'm working, you know, a certain thing and this guy's not, and I go there and smoke him with it, it's just extremely great feeling, man. And you know, and like you said, the level of respect between everyone is insane. Like, I could go to a different state and walk in their gym and say, hey, do you guys mind if I, you know, here's $10, you mind if I train with you guys? And they're, yeah, sure, with open arms, you know.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly how we are too. We just had a guy, one of the top brown belt middleweights in the world. He just came in from Chicago. We met him a couple years ago in Chicago, and he came in and trained with us, and it was just, it was awesome.
Yeah.
You know? He's really, really fun guy to roll with. Really nice to get a different view on how they train up there and all that. And yeah, just the respect is awesome. Is amazing.
That's awesome. So, and to finish it up here, just want to ask one final question before we end. What do you still want to accomplish in the jiu-jitsu world? What's the goal?
Right now, it's to go win a national title at blue belt, and it's my blue belt debut. So there's a little bit of nerves there, but nothing really. You know, it's just another hurdle, another day, another arena, another competition to me. But I don't know. I have a lot of like a big long-term goals, 5-10 years. You know, but I always keep those kind of on the back burner. It's one foot in front of the other. You know,
absolutely.
If you take 20 steps ahead, you get disappointed and frustrated with your progress. So right now it's just to win a national title, and then we'll see how this neck recovery goes after that. And then, yeah, I'm gonna go be a world champion in September.
Sounds like a winner.
So
Sounds like a winner.
September I can win nationals, double gold there in a couple days, and then recover and go win Master Worlds in September, and we'll see what happens from there.
See what?
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
Pretty big accolades to accomplish, and hopefully I can get it done. So.
No doubt it, man. Well, we're excited to be on the journey with you. I appreciate you coming and talking to us today. We're going to start doing highlights with people again, interviews and things, just to kind of highlight what's going on in town, local people trying to do good things, so to speak, and then other local businesses and things of that nature. So appreciate you tuning in today, and we will see you next time. Talk to you later.
Thank you. And quick shout out to Sarah in Edwardsville. Clean Eats Edwardsville has me on point with my weight cut, my diet. You guys are great. I love you guys. Thank you. And thanks for that. This place keeps me moving. So thank you guys very much.
Absolutely. Go out and check out Clean Eats, Head Nod Squad, and come get your Doc's Oil CBD. See you next time. See ya.
See ya.